We choose our path according to our tendencies and temperaments. Simply that. I don't consider one way inferior to the other. Simply what suits you, what you feel comfortable with, that you do. And that way you reach the same thing. Is an impact or the quality of the age which determines also paths. In which times we live, which country we live, which kind of association, situation of home, family we live. So many things determine your path. And temperaments are many. If you are born in one country, you will do one thing. If you are born in another country, you will do differently. Because you are born and brought up in different culture and religions, so you choose your different temperaments. If you are born in copper age, you might think differently than today. If you are a man of golden age, even today inside you, you'll choose a different path. You can carry your golden age with you and still do the things which people would do in golden age. Depends. Which social, cultural background you're born with or nurturing. What you can do according to time, situation, job and home and whatnot. What you can do, how much, accordingly you choose a path also. Not that there are not other paths. If your situation changes, you have more time and more inclination, more purity of heart, you'll choose a different path. Some say, I just love work. That work is my creator. And they are just day and night with it. They are right on their stage. But if their purity happens more and something, they'll modify, they'll balance it out. It's not the work is bad or wrong. God creates, He works too. But question is balancing and harmonizing. So supposing your heart is more pure and you want to meditate better and deeper, that will suit you. But if the mind is not pure, it has all the jargon possible, and you are trying to just shun the work and do meditation, you are nowhere. Neither here nor there. You don't get anything. Neither peace of mind, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. So it depends upon each situation. Each temperament is so different that's why I would say the creation of Guru happens, because he then chalks out a path for you under the circumstance. But when the disciples write, that's the best way, best path you have given us for me. I said, no, it's not the best. This is what you can do now. They think that because I suggested, so it must be the best path. I gave up suggesting because misunderstanding. Really, I stopped. I said, just choose what you want. Because it wasn't the best way. I only saw what he or she can do now under circumstances he or she is. Not only circumstances outside, but also inside the mind and heart. How much purity is there, how much sustenance is there, how much energy is left, how much inclination, positive or negative thoughts are there, and so on. And so, or how much a spiritual materialist person is, though asking a very wise question. Sometimes I find he's a spiritual materialist, I may not answer. As he'll turn everything to his or her wrong benefits. And some shun the work out of just the jargon, kind of negative thoughts. They think, I will meditate, but negative mind cannot meditate. So it's so many details in this come in. That's what I feel creation of Guru is, to chalk out the path for you under circumstances you are in, not what he thinks is best. You see? And this is kind of a custom-made prescription. That's what Guru is for. Otherwise, you can read the medical books and take out any medicine, But the combination of things of mind and feeling, life situation, energy left, previous karma, past birth, future birth, and so on, Gurus know, those who know, of course. And then they can kind of see what is at the moment best suitable to you. Whatever provided or avoided things. And so under those circumstances, you will see then that temperament plays the best part here. It's not what you want you to do is important, but what really you can do. Your tendencies will tell that. So to some, Divine Mother suits somewhere with a form, meditation without form, bhava. Some people suit, some copy others. So now knowing I talked about, so everybody will start doing knowing. When I talk about lotus and the light in the heart, everybody starts doing that naturally. But I give 10 things to see who suits what, you pick it up if you can. but you have to normally stick to one thing. But there are common factors which apply to every path, every temperament, whatever. Like we were saying, truthfulness, faith, devotion, regular practices, harmlessness, and such other things. They are pretty common on every path. Purity of heart. And these are not temperament questions. These are very common ingredients for everyone. Well, I will meditate upon an absolute. I have nothing to do with devotion. I said, you'll never reach. Try it. You can fool around it, but you won't reach. Oh, but devotion, that dualism. I say, yeah, but you are starting from non-dualism or dualism? So there are so many misunderstandings and pitfalls in between. That if it was so easy to jump to the non-dualism and avoiding devotion only because ego doesn't want to be devoted, how does it work? The main avoidance of devotion is because they don't want to submit their ego. And that's a very block in any path. They won't get it. Whatever the philosophy they talk about. Gita again, Sri Krishna very, very clearly tell Arjun, just shunning of action is no liberation. Inaction is no liberation. Very clearly said in the Gita. And something, I shun the action, then because that's the cause of my karmas, I won't do anything. And then Krishna said, inaction won't lead you anywhere. It's just drowsiness, lethargy, laziness, your avoidance, and it's just an ego trip. He didn't say ego trip. He didn't know that language, but something like that he said. His action rightly used for righteousness and dharma, doing your duty, frees you from temperament and your karmas. That's your origin. I repeat. Done action or duty according to your temperament for the sake of dharma and righteousness finishes your temperament and karmas. Whether you do it imperfectly even doesn't matter. Then he added, even if something else you can do more perfectly, which is not your temperament and not your karma or duty, will not lead you to liberation, even though you do perfectly. But do it, use it, the temperament, for the sake of dharma and righteousness. Since you have to use your temperament anyway, use for the law and the justice. It's very positive. One cannot say, if my temperament is to do for unrighteousness, injustice, then what? I mean, that will be quite, twist, That's not called temperament, that's called quite evil. You have to use your temperament, duty, whatever it is, action. Of course, there are Sanskrit terms like sukarma, vikarma, akarma, meaning good works, evil works, and inaction. So in case you have temperament of any kind, use it for righteousness and dharma and justice. Arjun, this way will exhaust your karmas and tend to deliberation. Even if you are able to do perfectly something what is not your temperament, it won't lead you to perfection. And inaction is a lethargy, procrastination, negligence. And that not only keeps your karma and tendencies stored in your subconscious, but on the top of that, in the world, you are kind of kicked out like a stone all over, doing no fulfillment, no success. You lose in this world also. Read the Gita again. Sometimes I add my little commentary though, but idea is the same. So in this world, as we say, Kali Yuga or the Iron Age or whatever it is, material age, we have to do karma. We have to do action, whatever is duty. See if duty is for the justice, law, and righteousness, for dharma. This way, then mind gets pacified, gets peaceful. And when that is there, then you can meditate. For the modern age, if I can call it, not all, but most of us, bhava way is very easy and suitable. Because one thing, we are so hankering after love anyway. And this bhava, the love and devotion and faith combined, fulfills that our urge of being loved or loving, plus It purifies the ego and the heart. So it's easier to reach God. Then if you want to have His darshan, God, I feel for you, I feel your presence, I see the love and devotion, I see you around behind me sometimes and all that. But I'm not able to see you yet. Then the urge comes naturally. Now don't do on one day in same meditation all these things. It is not that kind of quick. Well, it could be instant, but it's not. It doesn't work that way. It comes out naturally, urge in you, but I want to see you. And even then, underneath, if you have no doubt there, whether He is there, existent in the form I'm trying to remember or not, if you have doubt, He won't appear. And doubt does come mostly that time. I want to see you, but I don't know if you are like that, existent even. They don't say that. But inside, feeling is there. If the doubt is there, you won't see. So first is bhava, a connection, a relationship at a distance, as if slowly His presence is felt, his or her, whatever your God is. Your presence feel sideways behind in your mind, heart. You'll feel that giving voices, giving you guidance and instructions. Now don't, when your mind clutters and tells you something, you may have a dilemma saying God is speaking to you. How to judge that? If it's nonsense, it's not God's. What is it? Naturally, no? God couldn't give you guidance of nonsense, could He? Now, then again, you can pose a question, how to judge whether nonsense are sensible? I think your conscience can say that. It's weird or not. If it's weird, it's not God's. Then it's LP. You know what I mean? LP. You don't know? You play same LP every time, says the same thing. This presence, as we're talking now, joking or saying things, now God may joke or not, as immaterial, but it's the same presence you feel. It's not only you have to believe it, but it is so. You're not getting that presence tangibility because you're not that pure. You're not really calling upon him or her to that intimate action. You're not believing as if underneath that it can be, at least vibratory. That inside you, outside, in your room, here, there, garden you're walking, can talk to you. You can feel his presence. Then if your longing grows in course of time, you long to see him or her. It may look dualism. Ultimately, it's not. You and I are dualistic now. We have bodies. We are in relationships. Aren't we dualistic? We are living and eating and, lodging, boarding, traveling. Everything is dualistic. All of a sudden, we cannot reject all this and say non-dualistic as if there's a separate apparatus, which is not. Then when longing grows, what you feel, but Lord, I can't see you. You'll feel presence near and near. It's not a matter of imagination. First you may imagine though, but as a process. It's not imagination, it's very concrete. They all had Surdas, Mirabai, Tukaram, St. Francis, you know that. Ultimately, he was so longing, he got Christ conscious. He was blind though, in the end. They saw cross and all light shining through St. Francis in the cave when they went. It was a bundle of diseases, but even then. They have not only believed, they have made it tangible, and they know it is right. If he would not exist, you and I would be null and void. But we wouldn't exist. Well, how would we exist? Because you know and I know that we didn't create ourselves. You know that. If somebody's arm is cut, he cannot join it together. We know that. You and I are not the creators. We may be creators of our own little world, what we are living, little job and home and this. We are not creating ourselves. We know that. Somebody is doing that. That's what you have to have faith that he exists, he or she. I would say not or, he and she, right, okay. They do exist. You have to believe it, you have to have faith. When you get more and more pure and have faith, then inside heart will tell you, yes, there's a presence. That presence can talk to you, can give you guidelines. When you grow into that, then you long to see. When Mirabai used to worship the idol of Krishna in her room, her altar, she used to worship and do all the waving of lights, this as the ceremony is. She was soaked in bhava. In those days, in Rajasthan and village area, a lot of social constrictions and limits till you marry, the relationships and so on. So she was a princess though, but she was in love with Krishna from childhood when she was a little girl. Her guru or preceptor, the Brahmin, one day happened to give an idol of Krishna to her. She took it more real than you and I would take. And she took it as a real Krishna and made a little altar in her room and worshipped. Day in, day out, nobody knew what she was doing. And one day, and she was not yet married, she was going to be married to a certain another prince of another kingdom. And some other ladies heard voice of male and female from her room several times, as if she's talking to a man. And suspicions grew, And the news went to her father and others that, there's someone else inside. And every time they'll ask her go in, there will be no one. As a matter of fact, when they pressed her hard one day, she said, Krishna talks to me. And audible to others, not only to her third eye, How does he talk to you? He just stoned that idol. He said, no, he comes down from his place with me. Yeah, and several times they would hear and see this. Many times. And it's not the story of 5,000 years back, some centuries, few centuries back only, which is a historical time. Of course, there's a long story about her, how then she was forcibly given marriage and so on and so forth, and ultimately she gets liberated too. In those days, they were not free just to leave and go. That wasn't the question that time. It's very tangible. Whichever God is not, St. Francis' story is the same when he was lost in the cave in the last days. Light was shining, Christ consciousness. They have done this. Then when they have vision of God, they're soaked again. Then if they do get the urge, that's up to them, the devotee. That you, God and me, I want to be one with you. Then gets into the Dirikalpa, the ultimate absolute. Depends how much you can do, how much you want, or what way you want. So far duties are concerned, commitments and obligations, no shunning, just do for righteousness' sake, for dharma's sake. You're using the temperament, the rest heart you give unto God. If you don't run after your ambitions and selfishness and greed and, the possessiveness and the, all that kind of thing, if you don't do that, then you can exhaust your karmas and leave your heart unto God. That's what we call karma yoga actually. But karma yoga can be its own ditch again. Within karma yoga, you can try to seek your own position and gratification if you want. Mind is mind, You have to save it. Otherwise, obligations, commitments, and duties may not be in your way. Just do for the righteousness' sake. In that, you may lose materially something, but then do you want the kingdom of earth or kingdom of heaven? Depends what you choose. Do you look to your greed and profit and so on, or your position or gratification or your kind of ambitions, or you want the God's bliss, joy, and love and peace. What you choose. You can choose the kingdom of this earth, or you can use the kingdom of heaven. Choice is yours.